ladies and gentlemen. So Liv Morgan knows at last what it's like to be a breath away from the top tier. Corbin relearns what it's like to have a shower, and we know the reason for Finn Balor's return. I'm Casualeann. Come with me. Now, I apologize in advance, folks, if you hear like a little bit of background noise. I'm filming from somewhere different for this week. Kevin Patrick and Matt Camp take us into the evening's events, referring to the Smackdown from Arkansas as fallout from SummerSlam. They mention briefly the family celebration for Universal Champion Roman Reigns and the Smackdown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. And this is the opening for Finn Balor to disrupt and burst back onto the Tribal Chief's radar. And we saw kind of the eruption of Balor's purposeful frustration on the previous week's episode of Talking Smack, in which he put both Roman and Cena on notice to his kind of intense watching. They briefly mention Happy Corbin. This was a story that unfolded on social media the weekend of SummerSlam, the result of which played out on SmackDown. Luck was indeed a lady to Baron Corbin, because he completely recovered his entire fortune. But he's back in the tailored suits, the gorgeous hat. He even looks like he smells better from the camera. But the poverty and the adversity he just faced have benefited him none. He's learned nothing. He attempts to buy his way into being Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, I find this absolutely fascinating because it's still extremely heelish of him. And it's already in lockstep with a character that we're kind of just getting introduced to. It's really, when you think about it, just the kind of shinier, sleeker, more subtle version of him actually stealing Big E's briefcase when he was down on his luck. He reaps the benefits, maybe even gets the title without having earned any of it, if only Big E will sell. And despite the relatively peaceful end on that evening's SmackDown, I really don't think that's the end of the feud. I'm relieved, personally, that this is where the copyright for Happy Corbin was actually headed. You know, you might even say that I'm feeling a certain emotion. One opposite of anger, distress, or sadness. Something not quite delighted, not quite joyful, but positive in nature. There's a word for it. Oh well. They're going to Rey Mysterio, and he and Dominick, and there being something of a disconnect right now. Rey Mysterio lets Dominick go about it alone in the ring, with him eventually losing to Sami Zayn. Now, I prefer this kind of self-directed, I believe in you now, go out there and do it, baby bird out of the nest type approach, instead of it being directed by someone else, somebody being in Dominick's ear, or him being, as the old folks say, too big for his britches. This approach, I think, is a little more realistic, and it's in character for both of the Mysterios, especially Rey. I don't know where it's headed from here, but maybe Dominick could agree with his father, kind of in the worst possible way. However it goes, I'm here for it. But with that discussion, they transition into the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch says no to Bianca's request for a rematch for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And this results in an elimination fatal 4-way for the #1 contendership. Now, I should say, she said not tonight. But as far as that evening goes, it's a no. But in this fatal 4-way elimination match, Bianca defeats Liv, Carmella, and Zelina, and Camp gives his eagerness to see Lynch and Belair in the ring one-on-one. Preparation given, title on the line, kind of representing what the fans themselves want to see. They give Liv Morgan her due. Both Camp and Patrick as she outlasts all but the former women's champion Bianca Belair. And they move on to an interview with her and Kayla Braxton. So Liv is positively gleeful in this segment. She's got, I think it's sage she's waving around to like cleanse the energy, and they're gonna have a great conversation. I don't know. I found it a bit odd personally. The interviews with these new formats are maybe like 45 seconds, a minute, 2 tops. But you know, do what you gotta. It looks like the look on Kayla's face as Liv was doing that says that maybe she wasn't quite prepared for it. But Kayla maintains composure, asks her for her thoughts, as Liv didn't win the Fatal 4-Way, but she did eliminate Carmella. Liv says she feels like a winner, talking up Belair and dropping that statement maker phrase, you know, that is uttered by so many who lose against someone but still have something to prove. I took her to her limit. So her eye is also on that SmackDown Women's Championship, and she gives us an anecdote. She said that when Becky Lynch left, Liv hugged her goodbye. And Lynch said when she returned, Liv was going to be women's champion. She said that Becky's back now, but she still isn't champion. But that she's looking forward to becoming champion and proving Becky right, and maybe even taking the title off of Becky. She then asks Kayla if she wants to keep the sage for other interviews, and Kayla kind of somewhat awkwardly, gingerly takes it off Liv's hands. But shortly before the break, Kevin emphasizes how supremely a Becky actually is, reminding us that the man apologizes for absolutely nothing. I thought Liv Morgan being the final elimination of the 4 was the perfect touch. Zelina hasn't won one time since she's been back, and Carmella's been jobbing for months, while Liv Morgan has almost strategically been in the background. So taking her shots as they come, and now that signal, that message that's been sent is that in the singles division hierarchy, you know, this kind of tripartite of Becky, Bianca, and Sasha, when Sasha comes back, those 3, between them and the jobbers, Carmella and Zelina, there is this one wild card. There is a star with an upward trajectory just behind the #1 contender. After the break, they discuss the impressive nature of Rick Boogs and Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura in their victory over the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And Camp wonders if the guitarist and jester is possibly being undervalued, underestimated. With this, they return to the discussion of the new Happy Corbin. And I see they're starting to do this a lot, where they break up the discussion of a single storyline over multiple segments, which for a 20-minute show seems a little weird, but they go into more specifics about the potential sale of the Money in the Bank briefcase, with Corbin offering first $20,000, then $50,000, and eventually $100,000. Then Happy and his lovely hat's warning about not cashing in successfully. Wonder where he got that outlook from. And Big E's refusal. Kevin emphasizes the magnitude of the offer, and Camp gives us the long game, replying that E is probably thinking about the fact that the championship opportunity, being the champion, that's probably going to be worth more in the long run than $100,000. They throw the floor to Kayla and Happy Corbin, and Corbin starts by asking Kayla Braxton a question. How was his Bentley? She said it was nice. She was hoping that she could get a ride in it, and he says maybe next time, but that the last time that they spoke, he had something on his shirt. But now, if he gets a stain, he just throws the shirt out and buys 2 more. Kayla points out that he offered a lot of money for Big E's contract, and that maybe if he's better with managing his money this time around, he won't end up like he did before. Once again, there's no end to his short memory, because he says she has no idea how much money he actually won back. Maybe $100,000 is like $5 to some people. And that he's gonna manage the money great this time, and that he's just happy. Life is good. He talks about all the new things that he's buying. After this, we have Matt Camp and Kevin Patrick going back to Rey and Dominick Mysterio and Dominick's loss to Sami Zayn. I've discussed this, and in this second iteration, they don't really do any more than talk up Sami's veteran status as a motivation and the opening rift now between father and son. There's nothing really new. Then they move on to detailing the Bloodline celebration and how they jumped on Finn Balor, with the Street Profits coming back and forming the Cavalry. Now, I find it interesting that all of a sudden the Alpha Academy and the Street Profits, they found their eyes for the Tag Team Championships. And all of this is happening, it just so happens, while the Mysterios are on the downslide. But the foremost statement made coming out of this is that Balor is going to challenge Roman for the Universal Championship on Smackdown. And the man that stole the previous episode of Talking Smack again occupies the final slot. They must really like getting him for these backstage interviews. Braxton wants to know what message the Irishman has for the head of the table in light of this championship opportunity. And he tells her that he knew he was going to get a couple licks in, but he made sure he got his in first. He's gotten what he returned for. His message to the tribal chief is a simple one. I'll see you next week. The duo end the episode with comments on the prince's determination, his toughness, and how the next episode could begin with a new Universal Champion. So my must-watch for this week is the new man, who inside is still the old man, Happy Corbin. Just the transformation that he's undergone. I mean, this dude embodies whatever character he's in. I mean, the confidence in the body language, the hand in the pocket, you can tell this is a man a million miles removed from that homeless man with the spaghetti stain, the unkempt beard, no entrance music. Whether him being a million miles removed is a good thing kind of remains to be seen. The rating is 5 out of 5. This is the best episode I've seen them crank out in a while. Liv was great. We got to see more drive and some quirk out of her. And the story about Becky was kind of a capstone to give her more direction, kind of a motivation as the next Liv thing. Couldn't resist. Happy Corbin cements his new identity in the failings of the old one, and in both cases, he's compelling as heck. What more can we say about Balor than we'll be watching this week? So thanks to my new subscriber, Amazing Tribe. I really appreciate you, the encouraging comments, everything. Welcome. If you'd like to be recognized, just comment saying that you're a subscriber and I'll acknowledge you in a future video. But that was Talking Smack from August 28th. What did you all think? How will Corbin's new character translate in the ring? Will he even wrestle? How might a Liv Morgan push look? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's how the channel grows and gets recommended to others, so it helps when you do. And tap that bell icon to make sure that you get notifications for when new videos come out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.